Welcome to this exploration of the English language, a global lingua franca with an intricate history. From its humble beginnings on a small island, English has grown to become a global powerhouse, shaping and being shaped by diverse cultures, histories, and societies. Originating from the Germanic tribes who invaded Britain during the 5th and 6th centuries AD, English has evolved over the ages, absorbing influences from Latin, French, and a plethora of other languages. Today, English is the third most commonly spoken language by total number of native speakers, and it holds the top spot when considering both native and second language speakers. It's the official language of countless countries and international organizations, a testament to its global significance. English is not just a language, it's a rich tapestry of human experiences and histories. So, are you ready for this journey? Let's dive into the fascinating history of English, shall we? English, as we know it today, has its roots in the 5th century AD. Picture this. The Roman Empire has just withdrawn from Britain, leaving the island exposed to invasions. Enter the Germanic tribes, namely the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, who sailed across the North Sea to what we now know as England. Little did they know they would be the founding fathers of what we call the English language. These tribes spoke a cluster of West Germanic dialects, forming the foundation for Old English. This early form of English was a complex language, with a rich system of declensions and conjugations that might seem alien to modern English speakers. But English didn't grow in isolation. It was like a sponge, absorbing influences from its neighbors. One of these influences was Old Norse, the language of the Vikings who invaded England in the 8th and 9th centuries. Old Norse was a North Germanic language, making it a close sibling to Old English. The two languages were so similar, in fact, that they mingled and merged in many ways. We can still see this Norse influence today in everyday words like they, them, and their. Now, let's talk about the parent and sibling languages of English. English is part of the Indo-European language family, a large group of languages spanning from India to Europe. Within this family, English belongs to the Germanic branch, making it a sibling to languages like German, Dutch, and Swedish. Its parent language is Proto-Germanic, a language that was never written down but has been reconstructed by linguists. So, there you have it. From the Germanic tribes setting foot on British soil, through the Viking invasions, to the development of Old English, the early history of English is a tale of invasions, interactions, and transformations. But remember, this is just the beginning. The evolution of English was just getting started, with more influences to come. From Old English, the language evolved through several distinct periods. The first significant shift we see is the transition to Middle English around the 12th century. This was heavily influenced by the Norman conquest of England in 1066. The Normans brought with them a version of Old French, which began to seep into every aspect of English life, and by extension, the English language. This fusion of Old English and Old French resulted in Middle English, the language of Geoffrey Chaucer, whose Canterbury Tales remain a literary touchstone. As we move into the late 15th century, the Renaissance sparks another evolution, leading us into early modern English. This period is marked by the Great Vowel Shift, a major change in pronunciation that still affects English today. At the same time, the invention of the printing press in the mid-15th century standardizes spelling and grammar, helping to shape the language further. This period also sees the English vocabulary expanding rapidly as the Renaissance brings a renewed interest in the classical languages of Latin and Greek, from which many English words are borrowed. The final transition brings us to modern English, from the late 17th century to the present day. This period has seen the most rapid changes, with the Industrial Revolution, the growth of the British Empire, and now the digital age, all leaving their mark on the English language. Modern English continues to evolve, absorbing words from the many languages it comes into contact with. As we delve deeper into the history of English, we find that it is not a static entity, but a living, breathing organism. It grows, it changes, and it adapts, reflecting the ever-changing society that uses it. Each period of English, from Old to Middle, early modern to modern, has left its mark, influencing the way we speak and write today. Each change, each evolution, has made English a rich tapestry of influences, a language with a history as varied and fascinating as the people who speak it. Each period left its mark, making English a rich tapestry of influences. English has a robust literary tradition that has shaped cultures worldwide. Let's embark on a journey through time, exploring the literary milestones that have left their mark not just on the language, but on global society. Our story begins with the epic poem Beowulf, penned in Old English sometime between the 8th and 11th century. It's a tale of heroes and monsters, a testament to the imagination and storytelling prowess of the time. Then, as we move into the Middle English period, we encounter the Canterbury Tales, a collection of stories by Geoffrey Chaucer. Chaucer's work offered a vivid snapshot of medieval society, and importantly, it helped establish English as a legitimate language for literature, at a time when Latin dominated the written word. One cannot discuss English literature without mentioning the Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare. With his plays and sonnets, Shakespeare enriched the English language, introducing phrases and words that are still in use today. His works like Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and Hamlet are performed worldwide, transcending cultural and language barriers. Fast forward to the modern era, and we see the likes of Virginia Woolf, George Orwell, and J.K. Rowling, whose works continue to shape and reflect societal norms and values. Their narratives, whether grounded in reality or fantasy, offer insights into the human condition, making English literature a mirror to the world. But the influence of English extends beyond literature. It's the language of science, used in countless research papers and studies. It's the language of philosophy, helping spread ideas and theories that have shaped our understanding of the world. It's the language of music, with English songs resonating with audiences globally. In every field, the English language has left its mark, shaping and being shaped by the cultures it touches. From Beowulf's heroic feats to Harry Potter's magical adventures, English literature has transcended boundaries, encouraging us to dream, think, and connect. English literature and culture have left an indelible mark on the world. The spread and influence of English is a tale of colonization, migration, and globalization. This historical journey began in the British Isles, but the English language would soon find its way across seas, continents, and cultures. In the late 15th century, the Age of Discovery set the stage for English to embark on its global voyage. As European powers, including England, began to establish colonies around the world, the language was planted in new soils. From the Americas to Australia, from India to Africa, English was carried by colonists, missionaries, and traders. In these new lands, English often became the language of government, education, and commerce, exerting a profound influence on local languages and cultures. It absorbed words and phrases from indigenous tongues, enriching its own vocabulary and evolving with each new interaction. The 19th and 20th centuries witnessed a mass migration from the British Isles to other parts of the world. The English-speaking diaspora spread further, taking root in places like North America, Australia, and New Zealand. These diaspora communities not only helped solidify the presence of English around the globe, but also contributed to its evolution by developing distinct dialects and accents. In the modern era, the rise of the United States as a global superpower further propelled English to its current status as a global lingua franca. Today, English dominates international business, diplomacy, science, technology, and popular culture. The Internet too has played a significant role in the global spread of English. As the default language of the digital age, English connects millions of people worldwide, enabling cross-cultural communication like never before. Yet, the global spread of English is not without controversy. Critics argue that the dominance of English can undermine linguistic diversity and marginalize non-English speakers. This tension underscores the complex dynamics of language, power, and identity in our globalized world. Today, English is more than just a language. It's a global medium of communication. Its journey, marked by colonization, migration and globalization continues to shape our world, facilitating connections, sparking debates, and influencing cultures near and far. Modern English is a dynamic, evolving language spoken by billions. It's a lingua franca, a shared language used to communicate between people from different linguistic backgrounds. From Australia to Zimbabwe, English connects people across the globe. Today, it's the third most spoken language by number of native speakers, and it's the most learned second language in the world. One of the most fascinating aspects of English is the variety of regional dialects and accents. There's no such thing as a standard English accent. From the broad Yorkshire tones in the north of England, to the drawl of the American Deep South, to the sing-song rhythm of Singaporean English, each variant gives a unique flavor to the language. In the realm of media, you can hardly switch on a television or stream a film without coming across English. Hollywood, the world's largest film industry, produces movies predominantly in English, influencing global pop culture. English songs dominate the global music industry too, spreading the language far and wide. The influence of English extends to the digital world as well. It's the most used language on the internet, forming a common language for the digital community. It's also the primary language of scientific research, making it a vital tool for global academic and scientific cooperation. In education, English is widely taught as a second language, opening up opportunities for international study and work. It's the language of business, aviation, and diplomacy, making it a key skill in today's globalized world. English is also a living language, constantly absorbing new words and phrases from other languages and cultures. Just think of paparazzi from Italian, karaoke from Japanese, or yoga from Sanskrit. This linguistic borrowing reflects the cultural diversity of English speakers and enriches the language even further. English continues to evolve, reflecting our changing world. It's a language that belongs to everyone who speaks it, whether as a first, second, or even third language. And as it evolves, it continues to shape and be shaped by the people who use it. Like any language, English faces challenges and opportunities in the modern world. Let's dive into some of these. One prominent challenge is language shift. As globalization sweeps across the globe, there's a growing trend of people shifting from their native tongues to more dominant languages for economic or social reasons. This phenomenon sees English, with its global dominance, replacing or influencing local languages and dialects. The result is a loss of linguistic diversity and a potential threat to cultural heritage. Another challenge is the impact of technology. The advent of the digital age has brought about significant changes in the way we use language. English, being the dominant language of the internet, is affected by this as well. We see a rise in internet slang, abbreviations, and a more informal style of communication. While this evolution is natural, it raises questions about the preservation of formal language skills. But it's not all challenges. There are also exciting opportunities for English in the future. One major area of opportunity is in language revitalization. Efforts are being made to preserve and promote regional and minority dialects of English. Projects like the Voices of the UK are documenting dialects to ensure their survival. These initiatives not only safeguard linguistic diversity, but also enrich the tapestry of English. Another future prospect lies in the realm of language policy and education. With English being a global lingua franca, there's an increasing emphasis on English language education worldwide. This opens doors for innovation in teaching methods and materials, and for making English education more accessible and inclusive. Finally, technology, while posing challenges, also presents opportunities. Language technology, like translation apps and voice recognition software, can make English more accessible to non-native speakers. It also offers new avenues for language learning and preservation. The future of English, like its past, will be shaped by the people who speak it. Whether we're facing challenges or exploring opportunities, one thing is certain: the story of English is far from over. In this exploration, we've journeyed through the history and evolution of English. We began with its humble origins in the 5th century, springing from a fusion of Germanic dialects brought to the British Isles by the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. We traced the language's evolution over time, noting the profound influence of Latin, Old Norse, and French. We saw how major historical events, such as the Norman Conquest and the Great Vowel Shift, shaped the language and gave birth to the rich, complex form of English we know today. We delved into the literary and cultural significance of English, celebrating the eloquent prose of Shakespeare, the poignant poetry of Emily Dickinson, and the innovative narratives of contemporary writers. We recognized the language's impact on diverse fields, from art and philosophy to science and technology. We then looked at the global influence and diaspora of English, from its spread through colonization and migration to its current status as a lingua franca in many parts of the world. We acknowledged the contributions of diaspora communities who have enriched the language with new words, accents, and cultural contexts. We examined the current status and modern usage of English, accounting for its regional variations, its role in the media and internet, and its place in education. We acknowledged its official status in numerous countries and its use by over 1.5 billion people worldwide. Finally, we reflected on the challenges and future prospects of English, considering issues such as language shift and the need for inclusive language policies. We also highlighted the role of technology and education in shaping the future of English. Thank you for joining us on this linguistic journey. Stay curious and keep exploring the world of languages.